Hello, I'm Sibren from the Netherlands and I'm the guy who runs this channel. In this video I'm going to show you some tips about how to become faster on the 5k distance. But also, these tips apply on longer distances in general. In 2019 I started running at my local track club. Before I used to do soccer when I was young, and at a later age
during college I was mainly speed skating and cycling.
Nothing very fanatic though, training 3 times a week. Now, in 2023, I try to compete with the best of my country.
Well, that's me. This was my last race at the Dutch National Championships in February. I did race at 3 kilometers here in a time of 8:45, which was not my best race. But it was my first performance on a national level though. Femke Bol broke the world record on the 400 meters during this event later that day. I still want to make some progress and work hard every week to keep improving. So I started after some serious months of training in 2019 with a time of 16:75 as shown in the graph. This was not my first 5k though. I used to run some local race once in a while when I was young without proper training. But this was the first during my running journey. Within 3 years time I took more than 2 minutes of my 5km personal best and managed to run a sub 15 5k, namely 14:45.
So do you want to work and improve on your 5k or the longer distance? In this video I will give you some insight in what in my opinion is best to improve over the years. Tip number 1. Review your current lifestyle and training method. There are probably lots of things you can change in your training method as well as your rest or your diet.
What do you want to improve on? What are your weak spots? Is it endurance? I would suggest to incorporate some extra weekly mileage or an extra long run. Is it speed? Try to do some extra race pace intervals on the track weekly. Need to work on recovery? Try to go to bed earlier or eat proper directly after each workout. Most runners don't review their own training enough over the years in my opinion. Each year I look back to incorporate new variations and ideas in my training or lifestyle for next year, so I would keep growing as a runner.
My next tip is variation is key. You probably can vary more on a weekly or monthly basis in your training schedule.
A good training plan incorporates easy runs for 60 to 80% and then hill repeats or short intervals, longer tempos and a long run. You should consider making a half year or yearly training plan to address in which weeks you want to focus on, for example, extra mileage or endurance or speed or tempos. So you would actually pay attention to periodization. You could add extra mileage during base training or add an extra speed session between 6 and 3 weeks before your race. I started since last year with periodization as well.
And another obvious one is consistency is key. You don't want to crank up the mileage too fast. Try to stick to a good predetermined training schedule.
To build endurance, you can also do some cross-training to avoid injury by increasing your mileage too fast. Add a weekly cross-training session, some swim sessions or a bike ride. When you get injured or skip training for more than 1 week, you will start to lose some fitness during your build-up.
Tip number 4. Incorporate strength training as well. Some or most runners do some basic strength training, but I would suggest you to start with strength training at least once a week.
If you already have one training, you can do an extra, somewhat lighter second weekly training or vary more in your exercises. I noticed that my injury rate went dramatically down with adequate strength training. And as a bonus, I probably also run more efficiently.
And tip number 5. This can be a difficult one to imply, but also is quite obvious. Prioritize your rest. If you have a busy schedule during the week and a busy social life or work, it's hard to implement good rest days as well.
If you don't rest properly, you won't grow from your training. Or even worse, get burned out. I incorporate a rest day each week to stay consistent in my training.
And my last tip, and maybe the most important one of course, keep enjoying running of course. Without enjoying most of your runs, it's hard to stay on track on your training schedule and be disciplined.
Try to vary with your route or training location and train together with others, for example from your local athletic club. These tips account for most distances in general and not only for the 5km. Although there are some nuances in a half or full marathon training plan and shorter distances like the 400-800 meters of course. These were my main tips for today. I hope you enjoyed it. For more tips and running content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
And as always, if you still go out there today, have fun and get on the run.